It is Friday, May 26th, 2016. I'm back in the forest in southwest Colorado. The past is behind me, and what lies before me is the future and what I create for myself, what I choose to create for myself, where I choose to reside, what I choose to focus my time and energy on. And knowing every moment throughout this experience that I'm in charge of those decisions. There are other cosmic factors. Ultimately, thy will, not mine, be done. But there is a great deal in our lives that we are capable of doing, of choosing for ourselves. So I'm going to talk about a number of things, share some spiritual thoughts, as well as share how I'm feeling being back in this environment. As the sun comes up, I take note of the sun's position, because I'm probably going to walk about half a mile or a mile to get to this trail that actually crosses through the forest. And reflect on a few things. One of the reasons I came back to this space is because I can really feel my heart and my feelings and my senses on a deeper level, on a different level than how I feel when I'm in the San Luis Valley. I also feel that there are periods where certain areas feel a certain way, where they're vibrating to a certain frequency. Of course, where we're at plays a huge role in what frequencies we're activating or picking up on. That is true. But regardless of how positive somebody might be, they're still going to be affected in some way, shape, or form by their environment. Especially if they're a sensitive type of individual to where the energy of the environment is imprinting on them and their mood. And it takes a human great discipline to not be so affected by those influences that we partake in self-destructive behavior. Leading up to court in Costilla County and leaving this area the last time, but also spending a lot of time in the RV in anxiety and worry, I returned to an old habit of chain smoking more than my fair share, as if it's going out of style, as if I need to smoke that pack in a 24-hour period. Unusual psychological behavior response to stress. However, I'm not alone in using nicotine to shut down the senses. Right now, this is a period of rebirth for me. This is a new cycle in my life. The past is behind me, and I'm going to be doing some additional personal work out here in the forest to feel more than what I allowed myself to feel last week. Being fine inside my own body, inside my own space, where I am now, it has taken me a while to find a beautiful spot like this. As I've shown you in previous videos, the rock formations, there's something almost magical. It's as if they glow. This is an area that the Anasazi traveled through and or returned to at one point in history. I think there's a reason also why I've been drawn to Colorado, for maybe possibly similar reasons, as well as other people. So this is kind of this is a very powerful experience for me, to after everything that I've been through, and here we are at the water. There's a lot of small pools of water. This is a fantastic place for contemplation. I don't want to give away any more clues, but I believe this is a fantastic place for healing as well. And there's other aspects of this area and the nearby city that I haven't really fully explored or enjoyed. And I'm going to get to those experiences later. But see here, okay, here's the trail. Perfect. So I observe my position and where the sun is, and this is like a crossroads. To get back to my RV would be to go back this way. And I'm awake enough to at least go further off trail and do a little bit more exploring. I think in this case, I'm more interested in going this way. So the other issue that I'm going to mention is that I'm realizing that it's nearly impossible for me to consume YouTube content, video content of what's going on in the world, or to really upload my own videos, unless they're super small, and it's rare. As long as I'm on the prepaid Verizon 10G plan, which is a ripoff. It's hurting my wallet, so to speak. And it's not lasted me a month. But because of the lifestyle that I've chosen, expenses do go up with regards to internet. When I returned here last night, despite the stress that I felt inside the city and dealing with the employees at the Verizon franchise, they can be a little snooty if you're buying the prepaid, as if you're applying for food stamps or welfare. It's totally uncalled for, but they don't get a commission, so they feel that people are wasting their time if they're in there for the prepaid. To become self-sufficient, it's not really about becoming economically, self-sufficient off-grid, 100% off-grid self-sufficient. Economically self-sufficient. That means having a way to pull in some income, which I do, from several sources. It's not a large amount. I've mentioned that before. The part-time job and the YouTube AdSense and a few donations. That's a small, but collectively those items together have provided me with enough to continue this journey, whereas others wouldn't be able to because the costs involved for my freedom and what I'm able to enjoy, that I'm not under someone else's roof or someone else's slave, living in a place I don't want to live. It's worth it. It's worth the extra dollars for really how many gigabytes? 10? Okay, well, I have some more skills to adapt, obviously. Apparently it's a new skill I have to adapt, using as little broadband as possible to get my work done at the website, and that means staying away from multimedia. And what that's going to do, along with the limited amount of uploads, is it's going to encourage me to, even though I don't have my own studio, I'm not on the land yet because the paperwork is still going through. So it's either yay or nay still. This is the reality of dealing with title companies. It's on their schedule over a course of a month to make up a title and other things. Sometimes there's attorney fees to wrap the promissory note. So I'm going to be taking this time to hone my reporting skills, specifically my reporting skills. And I'm going to be reporting verbally. I'm going to give you a brief verbal report in a few minutes, headline by headline, taking it one story at a time. And I'll be covering the news that I post over at my associate's website. Okay. I think it's important for you all to know the severity of the situation, to know what's going on economically, to know about the robots replacing human jobs, to know about what's the latest with the gender warfare in urban environments, to know the latest with the weapons that our country is developing, that China's developing, that Russia's developing. Did you know that Chinese police or Chinese troops, I'm off trail, I should stay on trail, were patrolling an area of Italy? And these things are all important. While Trump is being viewed as a president that's going to bring peace to the world and make America great again, he also made comments about if he was president, he'd shoot down those Russian planes, in reference to a skirmish recently in the Baltics, U.S. destroyer and Russian jets. These situations are becoming all too common. There are things we can see in the news. For example, the video that I posted continuous unrest in Portland, Oregon. People are actually posting, what's their issue? Look, their issue isn't Michael Brown. The issue isn't police brutality. Police are important to deal with a lot of hardcore criminals in some cases, and there are obviously some mistakes that have been made and people have been killed. But compared to other places, of course they have it better. They are actually discontent that they're living in Portland. They are responding to their environment with yelling, anger. You know, nowadays, you see somebody jumping on a cop car, I don't automatically think agent provocateur. People really think this way, that this is about combat and fighting with the local police and taking over the road, and that's their version of anarchy. Telling someone else they don't have the right to drive. You know, there's a reason I got out of Portland, and there's a reason I'm grateful, and the reason that I do thank God for the means that allowed me to get out, because not all have been so lucky as I. So I don't feel alone. I feel aided by the universe. I feel like I learned a lot also from Costilla County. And I know, and I can feel, you know, inside me when a cycle is ending and when a cycle is beginning. And so right now, in my case, a cycle is beginning. I'm incredibly limited on internet, and so instead of that stopping me, I'm actually going to be producing more videos, and when I go to town, I'll be uploading those podcasts, those news reports, those walks through the forest. I'll maybe have a description in the title, say parentheses podcast, parentheses news, parentheses commentary, parentheses off the grid, parentheses spiritual perspective, you know, something along those lines. And I'll be able to produce the videos. I'll try to keep them shorter in some cases. I'll try. I won't promise. I'll try. And also bring in new audience members by covering those relevant topics that, despite the amount of people on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still amazed how in the box some of the thinking is out there, even from those in the alternative media. So I feel like my perspective needs to be shared, and I need to keep speaking and keep sharing, regardless of my economic situation or where I am. But ultimately, as I try to close here, I've tried to place myself in places where I feel the power. I'm kind of like He-Man. You know, I have the power. Although I'm not doing it to channel through Castle Grayskull. I'm bringing in my own energy, my higher self. I am that deity that I need to be concerned with. Not the path that others have gone. And I also, though, ultimately recognize a creator. And I don't put my own will over that of what is ultimately the right thing for me. Anyways, I'm really grateful to have this experience, and I think it's going to be that's all, folks. I think it's going to be an amazing next month for me. Alex Ansary here, signing off. May 26th, Friday, early in the morning, 2016. To be continued.